Hey everybody, welcome to the Design IT Solutions Podcast. I'm Daniel Schwartz, your host, and today we're going to be answering questions that came in since our last podcast on all things IT. So we're going to jump right into answering your questions here live on the podcast. So first question in is, do the better hackers have better technology, or does the tech not matter very much? Well, that's a good question. So, do better hackers have better technology? Not necessarily. So the hackers have, whatever skill set they have, and then a lot of the tools they use are free, so they don't actually need any advanced technology. Now, if they're running some kind of a password crack or trying to break encryption, they're going to need some pretty strong hardware to do that. So sometimes like a nation state hacking group that has funding from the nation would have some pretty sophisticated equipment to do that that the other groups wouldn't have the funds necessarily for. But some of these elite bad acting groups, they are ransoming, significant amount of money and have millions of dollars coming in. So they can afford that equipment as well. But really, the tool sets are mostly free. They're writing their own scripts. They're using AI to help break into devices and exploit 0 days faster. So it's not really a better technology. It's just a deeper understanding of how coding, machine language, how that works, and using that to exploit the code. Next one. What's the single most common way small businesses get hacked? Well, typically it's through a phishing email. About 91% of business breaches come from an email compromise. That could be a phishing email, that could be them getting into your email so that they can send out other emails to get access to things, or just use your email to phish other people. So email compromise, phishing, that's the number one way. It's very simple to get people to click on links. We see it all the time in the proactive phishing that we do, where we're testing people. We still get people clicking on links and submitting data, passwords, etc. So, that's definitely the easiest way in, is through some kind of email compromise. Is paying for antivirus software still worth it? Well, if you're using the term antivirus as its root meaning, then that's kind of obsolete. We actually use really endpoint detection, which uses much more sophisticated involvement. So antivirus is really looking for a virus, not just malicious intent or maybe malformed scripts, things that could exfiltrate data that aren't a virus. So if you're using the term antivirus loosely and just mean protection, then absolutely yes. There's not really a lot of pure antiviruses left. They're mostly going to be more advanced endpoint protection devices or systems. Okay, should I cover my laptop camera with tape? Well, tape, especially the clear tape, is probably not going to do a lot. But there are little things you can buy or you can print with a 3D printer that just slide over it to block it. I do have a cover. One of the things, it came with my camera, one of the things that hackers will do is if they are able to get surveillance on your device where they have a persistent foothold on your computer, they will turn on cameras to look at the surroundings, to take pictures, to help with social media campaigns that they might run against you to try and get more access. But they will turn on cameras for just awareness and seeing what's going on. They will have a motion detector, so if they see you sit down, they can turn on a keystroke logger or watch what you're doing. I will say, though, camera access is much lower on their attempts. They're not really looking to see what's going on as much. They just want data and access from your device, not as concerned about things. But there is spyware that'll come on your devices and turn on and just record things. So having a cover is not a bad idea. Is two-factor authentication by text message safe enough? We actually recommend you use a push notification through an app. The reason why is there's SIM jacking that can happen, and it's not too hard to spoof a phone number and actually end up with getting those messages. So if that's your only two-factor option, then it's better than nothing for sure. But I would move on to kind of an app like Duo, Google Authenticator, that can take a push so that the app has to respond, not just the device or the text message, because again, we can steal your phone number essentially and get those messages. If a hacker is that advanced or working to get to your information, it's definitely something they could do, depending on the scenario. Not everybody can do that, but should businesses ever pay a ransomware demand? My take is no. We always recommend you do not pay. For one, it puts you in the dark web as a target, somebody who pays. So now you're going to have more attention by other hackers trying to get in, even though usually after a ransom, you've got a company that comes in, gets you shored up, gets good stuff in place. But sometimes we see bad habits creep back in, and the same company gets hit again. So we don't recommend it. Also, depending on who was the culprit, they could be in a sanctioned nation, in which case it would be illegal and a federal crime to pay the ransom. So all things to consider as well. But in general, we recommend you do not pay the ransom. All right, are Macs really safer than PCs? No, they are not. Macs kind of flew under the radar for a bit with their exploits. But now hackers are actively looking at Mac exploits just the same as PCs, and they're there. So they're not safer. They need just as much protection as a PC does, especially if you're using it in any corporate environment. How often do passwords really need to be changed? Well, that's a good question. It depends on your environment. So if you are just using password protection on your devices, then it should be changed every 90 days. If you're using multi-factor authentication, we can push that out to 120 days, or in some scenarios, you may only need to change it once or twice a year. Why do we ask, or why the difference? Well, let's say you unknowingly got your password compromised. Let's say it wasn't even anything you did. A database was breached by a hacking group. They got in and they were able to get your password. Now it's on the dark web. Well, if you don't ever change your password, you have no idea, and you have no idea that they have your password, they could be using it. But by the time, let's say, a password is compromised and put on the dark web and in hackers, bad actors' hands to use, if you're changing your password at a good interval, then it's unlikely that password will benefit them. Another reason we say don't use the same password on multiple sites or similar passwords, because then they could figure out what you changed it to, right? Or they could use it at other sites you didn't change your password on. So changing your password is good, but why, if you're using MFA, would I say once a year or twice a year? And it depends on the system, but it adds that layer of protection where if they log in, you actually will get notified of a push, and you're like, wait, I didn't request this, alerting you to the fact that there was a compromise and somebody has your password. So then you can go change it. Now, you can still change it every 90 days across the board, whether you have MFA or not. It's just there's a lot of pushback to changing passwords. And so where we will give concessions on not doing it very much is when we have that extra layer of protection on top of the password with MFA. Still recommend that you change it quarterly at a minimum. Is public Wi-Fi safe if I'm using a VPN? Well, I just did a video on hacking public Wi-Fi on YouTube. You can check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And so really the question is, do you need to use it? And ideally, yes, the VPN adds a layer of protection to public Wi-Fi, but I would still not submit any sensitive data. And VPNs don't protect you from going to a phishing site if you were, happen to click on a link, or going to escrow site any of those things, the VPN is not going to do anything for you. The VPN just is encrypting that data over that connection. So it does add a layer of protection for people local trying to steal your data. But in most cases, if you have the option, don't use public Wi-Fi. And it looks like our last one here is, what's the right way to dispose of old computers and hard drives? That's a great question. You never want to just give away a computer that has all your data on it, and just copying your files off and then deleting them doesn't do anything. We can recover all those files really quickly, in most cases anyway. So taking the hard drive out and taking a drill and drilling through it, or if you go to the gun range and you want to put it up there as a target, do that. Drop it off a cliff somewhere and break it. Don't litter. Go get it, but destroy the drive. That's all we care about. The rest of it, send off, e-cycle, give to somebody, whatever. But just take that hard drive out and physically destroy it. Then you know there's nothing on it. There are tools. We have some that you can plug the drive into, and it will erase it so much that it is unrecoverable. But that takes a lot of time. And you would only do that if you needed that drive to be used again in some other scenario. So for the most part, drives aren't terribly expensive. Just either keep it, put it in your new computer, or destroy the hard drive. All right, well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out our website, our YouTube channel, X, LinkedIn, wherever you use your social media, Facebook, etc. Follow us and stay up to date, and we'll see you next time.